Bisco is known as the most dangerous terrorist in the world, but he is actually on a noble mission, to search for a legendary mushroom capable of curing all diseases. Years ago, a massive explosion shook Tokyo, leaving a giant crater in its wake. Shortly after, a horrifying plague known as the rusting disease spread, corroding living beings and objects alike, turning them into barren wastelands. A few human settlements managed to survive, shielded by massive walls that protected them from the rust winds, but even within these walls, the inhabitants gradually succumbed to rust and died. As the old civilization collapsed and was replaced by a dieselpunk-style dystopian regime, society grew fearful of mushrooms, believing that their spores were responsible for spreading the rust. The government outlawed all forms of mushroom cultivation and trade. However, a daring group defied the ban and called themselves the Mushroom Keepers, spreading giant mushrooms wherever they went. Among them, a red-haired young man named Bisco is the most feared. Nicknamed Maneater Bisco, he has a terrifying reputation. It is said that he can shoot a single arrow and instantly cause giant mushrooms to sprout over a vast area, making him the #1 fugitive. One day, at a checkpoint leading to Amama city, a monk whose entire body was wrapped in bandages attempted to enter the city. The border officer then checked the monk's identity while saying to be alert for a fugitive. The immigration officer mentioned Maneater Bisco and mocked his name. Meanwhile, in Amama city, a young doctor named Milo ran a small clinic, treating patients at low cost and earning the affection of the townspeople. His older sister, Pawoo, a captain of the city guard, was suffering from advanced stage rusting disease. Determined to find a cure, Milo secretly experimented with mushrooms, despite their government-imposed ban. He purchased smuggled mushrooms from food vendors and relentlessly worked on developing a medicine to save his sister. Although his efforts had yet to yield significant breakthroughs, Milo planned to step out to buy supplies, bidding farewell to Pawoo, who had just heard news of chaos allegedly caused by Bisco. After buying food, Milo was pickpocketed and gave chase, following the thief into a narrow alley. Suddenly, the thief attacked him from above. However, upon realizing that Milo was a woman, the young, inexperienced pickpocket hesitated and ran off. At that moment, Governor Kurakawa approached Milo, sneering and dismissing his efforts to help others as futile. Soon after, chaos erupted in Amama city. As the monk handed over his documents at the checkpoint, the officer demanded to inspect his baggage. The monk claimed to be transporting the body of a fellow monk for a final pilgrimage and even mentioned that the body contained a venomous centipede to slow decomposition. Intimidated, the officer allowed him to pass without further inspection. Bisco was shown destroying a government military helicopter using his mushroom arrows. He created giant mushrooms to distract the armed forces. Amid the chaos, Bisco had a brief encounter with Milo, who was intrigued to see a mushroom keeper in person after only hearing negative stories about them. Without lingering, Bisco fled the scene. Pawoo, enraged that the mushroom terrorist had invaded her city, prepared to lead a pursuit. Milo, excitedly recounting his encounter with the mushroom keeper, tried to stop her. However, Pawoo knocked him unconscious to prevent him from interfering. Meanwhile, Governor Kurakawa scolded a female helicopter pilot for failing to capture Bisco. As the chapter drew to a close, Bisco approached Milo, desperately asking for help in treating Jabi, his mentor, who was gravely injured. Back at the border checkpoint, the officer grew suspicious of the monk's disguise and questioned why he was carrying a bow on his shoulder. He reached for his weapon and tried to distract the monk while preparing to confront him. Realizing his disguise had been discovered, the monk tore off his bandages, revealing himself to be Bisco. Nearly struck by the officer's gunfire, Bisco retaliated with an arrow that instantly grew a giant mushroom on the control tower, destroying it. The officer and his assistant fled in panic, sounding the alarm. Bisco approached Milo, pleading for his help in treating Jabi, who was gravely injured. Milo quickly prepared for emergency surgery to save Jabi's life. However, Kuro's forces had surrounded their location and opened fire without hesitation. Facing this dire situation, Bisco proposed a bold plan, to make their hideout fly using his mushroom arrows. Milo was shocked but could only watch in silence as Bisco prepared to execute his idea. The scene shifts back to the border, where armed forces mounted on war hippos pursued Bisco. He revealed that his cargo contained his injured mentor, Jabi, and a giant crab they used for transportation. The war hippos unleashed bullets and mortars, but Bisco shot 2 of them with mushroom arrows, causing mushrooms to grow on their bodies and immobilizing them. Another hippo fired at the crab, but its sturdy shell remained unscathed. Enraged, the crab fought back, knocking the hippo down. As more hippos arrived, Bisco prepared a specialized arrow and fired it into the ground. A giant mushroom sprouted, and Jabi guided the crab to climb it. Just as a hippo lunged at Bisco, he used his immense strength to lift and toss the creature aside. The giant mushroom then exploded like a spring, launching Bisco, Jabi, and the crab over the checkpoint walls. In another scene, Governor Kuro scolded a female pilot for failing to eliminate Bisco. She defended herself, claiming that while she couldn't kill Bisco, she managed to injure the old man with him. She also revealed that Bisco's bow was powerful enough to pierce military aircraft. Kuro resolved to eliminate them before Pawoo's forces could intervene. As they fled, Bisco noticed Jabi's condition worsening due to advanced rusting disease. He lamented that ordinary mushrooms wouldn't suffice, they needed the legendary Sabikui mushroom, Rust Eater, rumored to cure rust entirely. Jabi, however, appeared resigned, saying he didn't care how much time he had left. Bisco, furious, refused to let his mentor give up after all they had endured. Jabi, amused, praised Bisco as his greatest student and the true heir of mushroom keeper techniques. Suddenly, a missile targeted them. Bisco shot it down midair with an arrow, destroying it. The incoming threat turned out to be a strange flying machine, a winged snail-like creature modified as a weapon. Jabi warned Bisco to seek cover under the crab as the snail plane spewed acid. Bisco narrowly avoided the attack and attempted to shoot it down but was bitten by an electric eel, temporarily paralyzing him. As another missile approached, Jabi shielded Bisco with his body, enraging Bisco. With a furious shot, Bisco fired an arrow that struck the snail plane, causing mushrooms to engulf it. The pilot, a masked woman with rabbit ears, bailed out before the craft crashed. In the city's underground, Milo treated Jabi, astonished at how the old man had survived such severe injuries. As Bisco prepared to distract Kuro's forces, Milo stopped him, refusing to let an injured person act recklessly. Milo tended to Bisco's bleeding face, causing Bisco to awkwardly thank him. Meanwhile, Pawoo learned from her subordinates that Kuro's guards were pursuing Bisco. They also reported the destruction of Milo's clinic. Furious, Pawoo resolved to chase Bisco herself. Bisco interrogated the female pilot who had attacked him. She revealed her opposition to Kuro's regime and her intention to quit her role as a weapon pilot. Suddenly, the sound of Pawoo's motorcycle drew closer. A fierce battle erupted between Pawoo and Bisco, with both fighters relentlessly attacking each other.
Who taught you how to drive? License revoked, lady.
In a city surrounded by tall walls, an emergency broadcast echoed through the streets. Reports of dangerous mushrooms emitting toxic spores urged citizens to take shelter. Tension gripped the populace. At the main gate, people saw what appeared to be either a giant mushroom-like creature or a massive pile of mushrooms. Panic ensued, as no one had ever seen anything like it. Amid the chaos, rumors spread that Milo's clinic had been attacked by terrorists, and Milo himself was missing. Kuro's guards approached the woman in the rabbit helmet, informing her that Bisco was at the west gate and ordering her to handle the situation immediately. Meanwhile, Milo worked in a hidden corner of the city, pumping artificial blood to save Jabi. The patient's condition was worsening due to advanced rust contamination, but the transfusion succeeded, and Jabi regained consciousness sooner than expected, proving himself to be a resilient old man. At the west gate, a fierce battle unfolded between Bisco and Pawoo. Bisco admired Pawoo's resilience as she managed to deflect his arrows with remarkable agility. He also noticed her body was heavily affected by rust, yet her movements remained sharp. Bisco explained that the mushrooms he used could actually purify rust. Slowly, he revealed to Milo that mushrooms are misunderstood. Rather than spreading rust, they absorb it. In today's world, the deadly rust wind threatens life, killing countless creatures. Because mushrooms often grow in areas with high rust concentrations, people mistakenly believe mushrooms cause rust. According to Jabi, mushrooms could be the solution, but the public's mistrust, fueled by misuse of mushrooms by some for profit, tarnished the mushroom keeper's reputation. Bisco and Pawoo argued during their fight. Pawoo believed Bisco intended to spread mushrooms as a weapon of vengeance, but Bisco denied it, explaining that his goal was to find the legendary Sabikui mushroom, capable of fully absorbing rust. He wanted to use it to save someone dear to him and rescue others from the rust wind's threat. When Bisco mentioned he was traveling with her brother Milo, Pawoo became enraged, assuming Bisco had harmed him. During the fight, Bisco managed to shoot a tranquilizer arrow to calm Pawoo. As Bisco prepared to take Pawoo to Milo's location, he was startled by a noise behind him. He turned, ready to strike, but was relieved to see it was Jabi, who had regained enough strength to move. Overjoyed, Bisco greeted him warmly, though Milo arrived and scolded Jabi for exerting himself too soon. Bisco thanked Milo for saving Jabi, his gratitude tinged with embarrassment. Milo was then shocked to see his unconscious sister. Acting quickly, he administered medicine to alleviate her rust symptoms. Jabi advised Bisco to leave immediately in search of the rare Sabikui mushroom to cure rust disease once and for all. While Bisco initially refused, concerned about Milo's condition, Milo insisted on joining the mission, determined to save his sister from her severe rusting. Parting ways with Jabi and Pawoo, Bisco and Milo hurried toward the city's exit, but they were pursued by Pawoo's volunteer soldiers. Jabi stayed behind to protect them, using his skills to hold off the attackers. As expected, Bisco used his signature mushroom launching arrows, creating a giant spring-like mushroom that propelled him and Milo out of the city walls. Together, they set out on their journey, determined to find the Sabikui mushroom and bring hope to their dying world. Bisco and Milo continued their journey across a harsh world in search of the cure for Jabi and Pao's rusting disease. As they traveled, Milo remarked that they might have taken the wrong path, but Bisco dismissed his advice, insisting on his lead. They eventually reached a lush green plain filled with algae, which excited Milo. However, Bisco warned that the area would attract dangerous insects at night, urging them to leave quickly. As they were about to move on, Milo suddenly fainted. When he regained consciousness, he found himself inside a rundown car, where Bisco offered him a lizard to eat. Though hesitant, Milo reluctantly consumed it. Milo revealed that Jabi's condition was critical, with only about a month left to live. To save time, they decided to traverse a coal mine rumored to lead directly to their destination. However, the mine was notorious for its dangerous creatures and unstable areas. To navigate the treacherous mine, Bisco called upon Akutagawa, his giant crab companion, whom he affectionately referred to as brother. Akutagawa's tough body and resistance to toxins made him ideal for traversing hazardous environments. However, Akutagawa refused to let Milo ride him. Bisco explained that Akutagawa despised doctors and suggested Milo dress like an adventurer to win the crab's trust. Even so, Akutagawa continued to reject Milo, forcing him to walk alongside the crab. As dusk fell, Milo kept trying to ride Akutagawa but was met with repeated failure.
Wait, hang on! Focus on his feelings, not...
Bisco encouraged Milo, emphasizing that Akutagawa was their strongest weapon and that Milo needed to bond with him. By the next morning, Milo began practicing how to ride the crab. During their journey, they encountered Chiru, a traveling merchant who attempted to steal Akutagawa. Bisco quickly drove her away, scolding Milo for being naive. Later, Milo tried to treat a minor injury Akutagawa had, surprising Bisco when the crab finally began to obey Milo's commands. By the afternoon, Milo successfully rode Akutagawa. They reached the coal mine but decided to camp overnight at an abandoned temple nearby. Inside the temple, Bisco was shocked to find Chiru again and suspected she was up to no good. However, Chiru was writhing in pain. Milo quickly tended to her, extracting a larva from her body. The larva turned out to be a deadly implant used by Governor Kuro to punish deserters. Grateful for Milo saving her, Chiru flirted with him as thanks, infuriating Bisco, who attempted to strike her. Milo stopped him, pointing out their dwindling food supplies. Chiru introduced her wares, calling her shop Jellyfish Mart, inspired by her hairstyle. Although her inventory mainly consisted of weapons, she also offered food for sale. Milo took a butter biscuit and insisted Bisco try it. However, Bisco grew angry when he realized Chiru was charging them for the food. Later that night, Chiru discarded gasoline, believing it was useless since Bisco rode a crab. Suddenly, Bisco woke to violent tremors and found Milo missing from his bed. Chiru came running, shouting that the temple was the shell of a massive walking fortress-like creature. If left unchecked, the creature could destroy the coal mine they were headed for. Bisco ordered Milo, now riding Akutagawa, to target the monster's head. Though hesitant, Milo commanded the crab to attack its weak point.
Akutagawa, jump up! Right there! Do it now!
Bisco followed up with a perfectly aimed mushroom arrow, striking the damaged area. The combined attack stopped the monster, but it managed to fire a cannon blast, destroying the coal mine entrance. With the mine's entrance blocked, Bisco began planning an alternative route. Meanwhile, Chiru disappeared, taking some of their money. Left with fewer options and limited time, Bisco and Milo pressed on, aware that Jabi's condition was worsening. As they moved forward, they encountered a group of children trying to survive in the harsh world. The children were caught stealing watermelons and retaliated by attacking Bisco, who was holding one of their friends. This scene underscored the desperation and challenges of life in their dystopian world. Meanwhile, Pawoo raced through an abandoned city in pursuit of Bisco. In another area, Bisco was confronted by a boy named Natsu in a slum. Natsu accused Bisco of kidnapping his friend, demanding he release him. Bisco, frustrated, explained that he was just a traveler passing through, but Natsu refused to believe him. In an unexpected move, Bisco pulled out his wanted poster and declared himself as Akaboshi Bisco, the infamous fugitive sought by Kuro. He suggested that Natsu could capture him and turn him in for a large bounty. Hearing this, Natsu allowed Bisco and Milo into their territory but had them chained, a plan Bisco had anticipated, though Milo remained skeptical. As they entered the area, Bisco and Milo were shocked to see the state of the children's living conditions. The place resembled a refugee camp, filled with orphan children. Bisco was taken to a different room, while a girl named Plum was assigned to watch over Milo. Elsewhere, Pawoo arrived in an old town where she found corpses. Suddenly, she heard screams and rushed to find an elderly couple being attacked by a giant spider monster. Acting quickly, she killed the monster and saved the couple. Grateful, they invited her to their home, offering to fix her damaged motorcycle. The old man explained that bandits were likely responsible for sabotaging her vehicle. Plum served Milo a bowl of clam soup and released his chains. Milo asked about the state of the town, noting that even children carried weapons. Plum explained that every year, pufferfish monsters attack and eat the children, while the adults work under Governor Kuro to support their survival. That was why no adults were seen in their camp. Milo noticed shell-like growths on Plum's hand and examined her condition, concluding it wasn't caused by the rust wind. Meanwhile, Pawoo was warmly welcomed by the elderly couple, who revealed that they once lived in a nearby town. They blamed a mushroom keeper who had set up a medical practice there, claiming his treatments caused a rust disease outbreak, which drove everyone away. This deepened Pawoo's hatred for mushroom keepers. However, Pawoo grew suspicious of the couple after discovering skeletal remains inside a cave near their home. She overheard their plan to poison her tea. When the old man attacked her, Pawoo revealed she hadn't drunk the tea and fought back. The couple unleashed a skeletal corpse that emitted explosive gas, setting off a chain of explosions.
Sorry to break it to you, hun, but we put poison in that tea! Weak!
The rust in my chest was just aching, that's all. I don't paid off. Figured you were the ones that set that trap, and I was right. Hurry up! This way! Get back here!
Well, damn. This might be it.
I agree. There's only one plan we can use at this
Realizing
point.
they couldn't defeat Pawoo, they detonated the cave's entrance and fled. Bisco, now unchained, ate a meal prepared by Natsu and noticed a spear mounted on the wall. Natsu explained it belonged to his father, who had been killed for defying Imihama's government. He kept the spear as a reminder of his father's sacrifice. Bisco suggested that Natsu should use the spear rather than leaving it as a display, angering Natsu. Meanwhile, children called out to Milo, celebrating his successful treatment of their illnesses. Natsu ordered Ko to guard Bisco. Ko showed Bisco a map, catching his interest. Bisco admitted he understood the route but needed help reading station names. Ko, who admired mushroom keepers for saving him during a rust wind outbreak, gave the map to Bisco as a gesture of gratitude. Natsu, now cured of his shell disease, thanked Milo and asked what he wanted in return. Milo requested Bisco's release, but Natsu refused, stating the bounty was crucial to protect the children from the annual pufferfish monster attacks. Suddenly, an alarm blared, signaling the arrival of the monsters. The children were shocked, as it wasn't the usual season for the monsters to attack. Natsu theorized the changing weather had depleted their food sources, forcing them to hunt early. During the attack, Ko was swallowed by one of the monsters, but Bisco quickly used Natsu's father's spear to kill it. Natsu was stunned to see Bisco escape his chains, and Bisco revealed that rusty chains couldn't hold him. Bisco saved Ko and demanded an explanation of the map, admitting he couldn't read. As Ko explained the station names, Bisco used his mushroom arrows to eliminate the monsters.
On the Kurakawa line, days ago.
Come on, there's a lot more fish to fry!
Next is Kazueoki, then Hinariyama, Kamekoshi, Jizonuki-koen, Hakusadai, Surikamisaki,
Your name?
Konakizari! That's it!
Natsu watched in awe as Bisco effortlessly defeated the creatures. After memorizing the station names, Bisco mounted a Kurakawa and urged Milo to hurry to their next destination. Plum, saddened by Milo's departure, was reassured that one day she could become a great doctor, inspired by her kindness. Before parting, Natsu gave Bisco his father's spear as a token of gratitude. Elsewhere, Kuro was in an underground station, tracking Bisco's movements. Sensing something amiss, he snapped his fingers, prompting his guards to kneel. However, one figure didn't bow. It was Jabi, disguised among the guards. Bisco and Milo ventured into a snowy wasteland, braving the extreme cold. Spotting smoke in the distance, Bisco noticed a frozen rabbit and attempted to shoot it with his bow. Milo also tried, but his poor aim made Bisco laugh, until Milo's arrow triggered a trap that successfully caught the rabbit. Bisco, surprised but unwilling to admit Milo's skill, shrugged it off. As Bisco unearthed a weapon buried in the snow, they were shocked to reunite with Chiru, the woman who had previously deceived them. Despite being saved, Chiru remained curt, claiming she didn't want to owe them. However, it was evident she was in a desperate state. Milo offered her food and drink, asking how she ended up there. Chiru explained that she had been shot while flying toward Miyagi in a helicopter. Her struggles to survive had pushed her to the brink, and she admitted to considering giving up on life due to its harshness. Bisco admonished her, saying that someone as strong as her shouldn't give up so easily. Milo's kindness left Chiru blushing as she reluctantly accepted their help. When Bisco and Milo prepared to continue toward the Kurakawa line underground station, Chiru surprised them by offering to guide them there. Bisco was annoyed, especially when Chiru rode on a Kurakawa, leading to constant bickering that caused the crab to throw them off. Despite the tension, the group reached a trading post. At the post, Milo negotiated for supplies but was asked to trade their crab for the items they needed. Bisco refused, unwilling to give up Akutagawa. Chiru stepped in, taking over the negotiations, and managed to secure additional supplies and warm clothing. Though Bisco suspected her methods, they begrudgingly appreciated her resourcefulness. Arriving at the frozen subway entrance, Akutagawa broke through the ice to reveal a dark but intact tunnel. Bisco used a lightning mushroom to illuminate the area. Inside, they found several old train cars and began inspecting them for functionality. When they discovered a working car, Bisco called for Milo. However, neither of them understood how to operate the train, and they were surprised to find it required payment to run. Chiru intervened, impressing Milo with her mechanical knowledge. She revealed she once worked in a robotics facility but left due to overwork and low pay. Many of her co-workers succumbed to rust disease. Chiru restored the train while Bisco and Milo rested, discussing their journey and goals. Milo reflected on the joy of meeting new people and experiencing the world beyond the city. He asked about Jabi, and Bisco described him as a strict but caring mentor who was like a father to him. Chiru overheard their conversation and later joined them, curious about their willingness to risk their lives for others. Milo responded, maybe it's because of love, and because they couldn't let someone they cared about die. Milo and Chiru examined a book they had acquired from a snow trader. It contained information on creatures and the mushrooms that grew on their bodies. They found a description of the legendary Sabikui mushroom growing on a massive creature called the pipe snake. Bisco recalled Jabi's warning that the pipe snake was the largest and most dangerous of all monsters. After Chiru got the train running, she bid farewell to Bisco and Milo. Milo thanked her and asked for her real name. Embarrassed, she revealed her name was Tirol, worrying they might laugh. Milo reassured her, expressing hope to meet her again someday.
Bye, and thanks again!
Akaboshi! Milo!
During their train journey, they were attacked by a swarm of oil squids. Bisco ordered Milo to help by shooting arrows at the creatures. Using a smoke arrow, Bisco managed to detach the squids clinging to the train. However, the squid leader grabbed Bisco's leg, attempting to devour him. Milo called on Akutagawa to throw a moving train car at the squid, freeing Bisco. Milo tried to shoot the monster but lacked the strength to aim accurately. Bisco steadied Milo's hand, guiding his arrow to hit the target precisely. Together, they defeated the oil squids and escaped the subway. They emerged into a vast plain called Crying Child Ravine, where they were shocked to see the pipe snake. Its enormous size exceeded their expectations. Bisco immediately planned to attack with Milo's help. However, just as they prepared to engage, Pawoo appeared unexpectedly, throwing the situation into chaos. Pawoo, who looked angry, questioned Bisco about Milo, but Bisco seemed to provoke him. Shortly after, a giant pipe snake appeared. Shocked by the sight, Pawoo was caught. Milo, with his crab, attacked the pipe snake's body and managed to knock Pawoo down. However, as they were about to descend, Akutagawa, the crab, got caught. At that moment, Milo intended to free himself from the pipe snake's grip by severing the crab's limb, but the pipe snake did not let go easily. Bisco then used the spear he had obtained to wound the pipe snake. Working together with Pawoo, he rushed toward Milo, but unfortunately, both of them were swallowed by the creature. Inside, Bisco used his mushroom technique to weaken the pipe snake from within. Pawoo was relieved to be reunited with his younger brother. Soon, mushrooms began growing on the pipe snake's body. Seeing this, Milo was excited, thinking they had found the mushroom they were searching for. However, Bisco felt something was wrong. It was the same type of mushroom as the others they had encountered before. Disappointed, Milo fell silent. Bisco decided to continue searching for the rust eater and did not force Milo to join him. At that moment, the mushroom Bisco had eaten began glowing. Milo then realized that Bisco's blood had an effect on the mushroom. As a doctor, Milo asked Bisco about his blood type, but Bisco didn't know. Milo recalled that Grandpa Jabi also had no knowledge of blood types. With this in mind, he performed a blood transfusion on Bisco, intending to mix his own blood with Bisco's to trigger an effect on the rust-eater mushroom. Seeing all this, Pawoo started to rethink his views, realizing that not all mushroom guardians were as bad as the stories claimed. Bisco was slightly annoyed by Pawoo's gaze. Pawoo then mentioned that he needed to fix his motorcycle. Just then, Kurakawa appeared, intending to take the dead pipe snake. Bisco attempted to stop Kurakawa using his mushroom technique but was shot in the process. Kurakawa successfully took the pipe snake's body, leaving with a remark that he looked forward to meeting Bisco again. The next day, they parted ways with Pawoo, who planned to deliver the antidote. Before leaving, Pawoo gave Bisco one of the antidotes, which made Bisco slightly embarrassed upon realizing that Pawoo had feelings for him. When Pawoo arrived in Imihama, he was met by Kurakawa, who had taken Grandpa Akaboshi hostage. Meanwhile, Milo was out hunting, preparing a meal for Bisco. As he was about to cook, he noticed that Bisco was missing. Soon, he heard Bisco's voice outside. Bisco was riding Akutagawa, joking that the crab had just been dumped by a female crab he met. Seeing this, Milo got angry, frustrated that Bisco was still playing around when his body hadn't fully recovered from Kurakawa's gunshot wound. Bisco then chased after Akutagawa, making Milo even more irritated. As Milo prepared food, he suddenly heard a broadcast from Kurakawa announcing that Pawoo had been captured. Shocked, Milo froze in disbelief. When Bisco returned, he sensed something was off about Milo. As he tasted Milo's cooking, he realized it had been laced with a sleeping drug. Bisco quickly connected the dots. It was related to Pawoo. Declaring that he knew where Pawoo was being held, Bisco rushed to leave, but Milo stopped him. Tension arose as Milo, fully aware of Bisco's weakened condition, refused to let him go. Holding his bow, Milo was determined to stop Bisco because he did not want to lose a friend. However, Bisco punched him, claiming he was still strong enough. Milo retaliated, making Bisco furious. In the end, Milo successfully drugged Bisco using the sleeping agent he had prepared. Leaving Bisco behind, he set off alone, determined to rescue Pawoo and Grandpa Akaboshi by himself. Meanwhile, Kurakawa was playing cards with one of his guards, who had lost all traces of human reasoning due to the effects of the mushrooms growing on his head. Just then, Milo arrived, and Kurakawa seemed pleased to see him. It was at this moment that the truth behind Milo's determination to keep Bisco from coming became clear. When he saw Kurakawa's broadcast, he witnessed his sister being tortured. Kurakawa had set the conditions for an exchange, the antidote and Bisco. Kurakawa immediately demanded the antidote Milo had brought. However, when Milo tried to demonstrate the antidote's effects on rust mushrooms, Kurakawa quickly realized he was being deceived. Milo had created a smokescreen. Enraged, Kurakawa ordered his men to eliminate Milo. He couldn't understand how someone like Milo, a mere doctor, could fight on par with a mushroom guardian. As Kurakawa aimed his gun at Milo, the doctor emerged from the red mist and managed to wound him. But in the heat of battle, Kurakawa fired a bullet containing mushroom poison into Milo's body. Just as Milo was about to attack again, he suddenly found himself unable to move. Kurakawa then revealed a shocking truth: he had once been a mushroom guardian himself. He explained that he used puppet mushrooms, which connected to his brainwaves, allowing him to control people at will. Kurakawa further admitted that he was never truly interested in the antidote Milo had brought. Instead, he planned to keep it for himself while continuing to spread rust contamination across the world, using it to manipulate the global economy. Seeing Milo as a threat to his plans, Kurakawa prepared to eliminate him, until Bisco suddenly arrived to save him. Meanwhile, in the prison, Grandpa Akaboshi was working on a way to escape. Taking advantage of a moment when the guards were distracted, he successfully broke free from his cell. Back at the confrontation, Kurakawa was delighted to see Bisco, mockingly commenting on how unwell he looked. He then confessed that he was the one who had betrayed the Mushroom Guardians to the government, spreading the lie that they were responsible for the world's suffering. As Kurakawa moved to attack, Bisco fired an arrow, completely destroying his arm. However, before Bisco could press the advantage, Milo, still under Kurakawa's control, shot Bisco with an arrow. Kurakawa ordered Milo to shoot again, intending to finish Bisco off. But Milo suddenly shouted that he knew the formula for an antidote to the rust mushrooms. Hearing this, Kurakawa immediately forced him to reveal the recipe, threatening to make Milo kill Bisco if he refused. Left with no choice, Milo disclosed the formula. Despite obtaining the information, Kurakawa decided that Bisco and Milo were too dangerous to keep alive. Just as he was about to eliminate them, Bisco gave a subtle signal to Milo. When Milo fired another arrow, Bisco caught it in his mouth and redirected it toward Kurakawa. The villain, unable to react in time, screamed in pain from the unexpected counterattack. At that moment, another arrow struck Kurakawa, knocking him unconscious. Bisco instantly recognized the arrow's craftsmanship. It was Grandpa Akaboshi's. The old man had arrived just in time to assist them. Milo, still weak, urgently asked if Grandpa Akaboshi had seen his brother. Jabi reassured him that he had already rescued Pao beforehand. However, before they could leave, Kurakawa's guards appeared, blocking their escape. Having regained consciousness, Kurakawa ordered his men to capture them immediately. Seeing the situation, Grandpa Jabi quickly instructed Milo to escape with Bisco while he stayed behind to hold off the guards. As they fled, Kurakawa's forces gave chase, but just then, Akutagawa arrived to rescue them. Unfortunately, in the chaos, Milo was struck by an arrow and collapsed, losing consciousness.
There's an arrow.
Soften me. Try not to talk.
Bisco. Please don't die.
At that moment, Milo hallucinated seeing Pao, Bisco, Grandpa Jabi, and Akutagawa happily enjoying themselves in a vast green field. He tried to join them, but they seemed to move further away. When he finally regained consciousness, Bisco was beside him, telling him to stay calm. Milo was startled by the state of his body, but Bisco reassured him that he was safe and that he had successfully created an antidote using the formula Milo had written down. Milo apologized for ruining the plan, blaming himself for the chaos. Bisco, however, told him that if their roles were reversed, he would have done the same thing. Milo then asked about Grandpa Jabi and his sister. Bisco explained that Jabi had already taken care of her. Jokingly, Milo asked Bisco if he would consider dating his sister. Caught off guard, Bisco reacted in shock, calling Pao a fierce woman. Milo laughed at his response. He then mentioned that in his dream, he saw all of them traveling together, looking happy. However, he knew that Bisco was planning to leave him behind to confront Kurakawa again. Milo vowed to become stronger so that he could fight alongside Bisco in the future. Bisco told him to rest so that he could recover. Once Milo fell asleep, Bisco and Akutagawa quietly left to settle things with Kurakawa once and for all. Meanwhile, Pao observed Kurakawa's forces traveling in military vehicles. She also saw Grandpa Jabi being taken to an unknown location by Kurakawa. Once there, Kurakawa explained why he hadn't killed Jabi. He had a purpose for him. He revealed a massive factory, a facility designed to boil rust. Kurakawa explained his ultimate plan. He intended to unleash rust-contaminated winds, infecting more people and ensuring his control over the world's economy. Furthermore, he planned to awaken a legendary iron giant, a monstrous machine rumored to have the power to destroy entire nations. He then made an offer to Jabi join him. Kurakawa needed the blood of mushroom guardians to create the antidote, which he intended to sell at an exorbitant price. He wanted Jabi to help him find young mushroom guardians whose blood could be harvested for this purpose. Jabi outright refused, vowing never to assist such evil. Annoyed, Kurakawa threatened to fire his rust-wind weapon on Jabi's hometown. Enraged, Jabi lunged at him, but one of Kurakawa's guards struck him, leaving him barely conscious. Kurakawa then ordered his men to cut off one of Jabi's fingers to prevent him from using a bow again. However, just as the soldier was about to carry out the order, he unexpectedly turned against Kurakawa, because he wasn't a soldier at all. It was Bisco in disguise. Kurakawa, realizing the deception, grabbed the mask off Bisco's face. In an instant, Bisco threw Kurakawa to the ground, ready to finish him off. Jabi was shocked to see Bisco's condition. His body was severely corroded by rust. Bisco, however, remained determined. He told Jabi to focus on destroying the rust factory while he handled Kurakawa. Before leaving, Jabi urged Bisco not to die. Kurakawa quickly commanded his guards to attack Bisco. As the battle commenced, Kurakawa unleashed a swarm of mechanical bees to aid him. Meanwhile, Grandpa Jabi, heading toward the factory's core, was intercepted by a massive mutant gorilla. Just as the beast was about to attack, Pao arrived, landing a powerful punch that sent the mutant flying. Jabi was astonished by her strength. Meanwhile, Bisco and Kurakawa engaged in a fierce duel. Using his robotic bees, Kurakawa managed to shoot Bisco, injuring his right eye. Then, a massive mutant human, towering in size, emerged to fight Bisco. The mutant fired a powerful gun at Bisco, but Bisco dodged every shot. The giant then charged at him, finally landing a devastating. Kurakawa watched gleefully, thinking Bisco was done for. But Bisco, furious, fired 2 mushroom arrows, causing the ground beneath the giant to collapse, sending him plummeting into a pool of molten rust. However, in the battle, 2 of Bisco's fingers were severed. Kurakawa laughed in satisfaction. Bisco, however, didn't back down. He charged at Kurakawa and landed a brutal punch. Seeing the sheer rage in Bisco's eyes, Kurakawa panicked and tried to flee. But nothing could stop Bisco now. Kurakawa desperately fired at him again, and the rust in Bisco's body spread further, causing his arm to break apart. Seeing this, Kurakawa attempted to finish Bisco off. Before he could pull the trigger, his hand was suddenly sliced off. Milo had arrived. With one final move, Bisco lunged at Kurakawa, sinking his teeth into his throat. The 2 of them tumbled into the molten rust below. Milo watched in horror. He called out to Bisco, grief-stricken. Bisco, barely clinging to life, turned to Milo and made one last request to finish him. With a heavy heart, Milo did as he was asked. Grandpa Jabi and Pawoo continued their fierce battle against the mutant gorilla. Meanwhile, the Ganesha cannon was preparing to fire a devastating blast of molten rust. Acting quickly, Pawoo grabbed one of the mutant gorillas and hurled it directly into the cannon, causing a massive malfunction and shutting it down. Just then, Grandpa Jabi received word that Kurakawa had been defeated. However, Milo and Bisco were still trapped inside the collapsing factory. Pawoo immediately rushed to find Bisco, but as she entered, the unstable structure began to cave in around her. She barely managed to avoid being crushed, thanks to Milo, who shielded her just in time. Without wasting a moment, Milo and Pawoo hurried outside. Once they reached safety, Milo explained everything to Grandpa Jabi, revealing the tragic fate of Bisco. As they processed the loss, government troops arrived at the scene, working to clear the wreckage of the destroyed factory. Many still held onto the hope of finding Bisco's body. However, before they could search further, a colossal iron giant suddenly emerged from the ruins, shocking everyone. The mechanized monster wasted no time unleashing a devastating energy blast, instantly obliterating Kanaki Yoko, the hometown of Grandpa Jabi and Bisco. The government troops launched an all-out assault, but their weapons proved useless against the towering entity. The iron giant turned its destructive beam toward them, forcing Milo, Pawoo, and Grandpa Jabi to scramble for cover. After delivering its devastating attack, the monster began marching toward a new destination. Determined to stop it, Milo prepared to give chase, but Pawoo tried to hold him back. She feared he would meet the same fate as Bisco. However, Milo insisted that he was the only one who could stop it. He had already consumed the anti-rust medicine, making him resistant to the monster's deadly energy. Realizing there was no stopping him, Grandpa Jabi and Pawoo vowed to catch up as soon as they could. With that, Milo rushed toward the iron giant. Meanwhile, Chiroru arrived at the frozen garrison, only to find it completely abandoned. As she wandered through the desolate base, memories of her farewell with Milo and Bisco resurfaced, filling her with a bittersweet longing. Suddenly, she was startled by the sight of humans with mushrooms growing from their heads. At first, she feared the worst, but upon closer inspection, she realized they were Pawoo's former guards, finally freed from Kurakawa's mind control. Just then, a government helicopter arrived, carrying a group of captured Kurakawa soldiers. When questioned, one of the prisoners revealed a shocking truth: Kurakawa had perished, along with Bisco. The news shook Chiroru to her core. Before she could fully process it, the iron giant arrived at the frozen garrison. The remaining government soldiers immediately engaged the mechanized monstrosity, but they were no match for its overwhelming power. In mere moments, the iron giant wiped out the entire battalion. Watching in horror, Chiroru realized the monster was heading toward Imihama. She quickly ordered any remaining troops to assist in stopping it. Milo finally caught up to the iron behemoth, and to his horror, he discovered the truth: this mechanical monster was Kurakawa himself. Kurakawa had somehow merged with the machine, transforming into a nightmare of steel and rust. Without hesitation, Milo let out a battle cry and unleashed a volley of mushroom arrows at the monstrous form. The fungal projectiles exploded upon impact, but the iron body of Kurakawa shrugged them off with ease. Seeing Milo's defiance, a group of local merchants joined the fight, hoping to assist him. However, Kurakawa locked onto them and fired his devastating laser beam, aiming to annihilate them completely. Before the blast could strike, Akutagawa and Grandpa Jabi arrived just in time. With Akutagawa's incredible speed and Jabi's expert archery skills, the two veterans quickly supported Milo, engaging the monstrous machine in battle. Kurakawa, enraged, fired another skyward blast, sending molten destruction raining down upon them. The impact triggered a massive explosion, causing the Iron Giant to let out an earth-shaking roar of fury. The battle against Kurakawa's final monstrous form had truly begun. Pawoo and Chiroryu were seen hurrying toward Imihama. Chiroryu then showed notes about the Iron Giant, but when Pawoo examined them, he couldn't understand them. Pawoo said that he still didn't fully trust Chiroryu. Meanwhile, Milo and Grandpa Jabi regained consciousness after the explosion caused by the Iron Giant. Grandpa Jabi then explained that the Iron Giant rusting ability didn't just affect metal but also anything it touched, including animals and plants. Milo still didn't know how to fight against the Iron Giant. At that moment, some merchants found them. Milo told Grandpa Jabi to stay with them because of his injuries. He then decided to continue the battle with Akutagawa's help. Grandpa Jabi, looking at Milo, saw Bisco's soul within him. Meanwhile, the Iron Giant kept marching toward Imihama, turning everything around it into rust. As Milo pursued it, he suddenly coughed up blood and realized his own body was also deteriorating. He quickly injected himself with an anti-rust serum. The Iron Giant eventually reached Natsu's location, triggering an alarm. Ko then stated that the monster was an Iron Giant, identical to the skeleton of the city. Ko told Natsu to evacuate instead of fighting it. Natsu, however, ordered all the children in the city to evacuate immediately. As the Iron Giant entered the city, it destroyed everything in its path while shouting Akaboshi's name. Upon hearing this, Natsu decided to fight back by throwing his spear. But before the attack could land, the Iron Giant prepared to fire a laser at him. Just in time, Milo's arrow saved Natsu.
You'll have to get past nuts, the white whale fisher if you want to cause, and you're as good as a silver rust bucket.
Let's go.
Milo then bombarded the Iron Giant with his mushroom arrows and told Natsu and the others to get to safety. Natsu was surprised to see Milo fighting without Bisco. Without hesitation, Milo continued his assault. As the Iron Giant was about to fire its laser, Pawoo suddenly descended from the sky and struck it. Chiroryu and Grandpa Jabi also appeared, shocking Milo. Pawoo said there was no time to talk and urged everyone to attack the Iron Giant again. Meanwhile, in Imihama, the city's alarm blared, signaling that the Iron Giant was getting closer. Milo and the others continued their assault but soon realized something was wrong. The Iron Giant unleashed a powerful rust storm, instantly corroding everything it touched. Milo and his allies were trapped in the storm. Afterward, the Iron Giant continued toward Imihama. Fortunately, Akutagawa managed to take cover underground. When he emerged, Milo was seen injecting himself with the anti-rust serum again. Grandpa Jabi, seeing this, warned him that his body wouldn't be able to withstand it much longer. However, Milo had no other choice. He entrusted Pawoo to the others while he and Akutagawa continued their pursuit of the Iron Giant. As the Iron Giant approached Imihama, the government forces tried to stop the monster. Milo confronted it once more, climbing onto its body and stabbing it. However, he discovered Bisco's glasses inside the Iron Man. The shocking revelation made him momentarily lose focus, allowing the Iron Giant to strike him. Pawoo was stunned, but then, suddenly, Bisco emerged from inside the Iron Giant body, bringing Milo to tears of joy.
All right.
At that moment, Bisco, having risen again, immediately attacked the Iron Giant. His body, radiating with light, struck the Iron Giant with such force that it fell to the ground. Without hesitation, Bisco rushed toward Milo. Overjoyed to see him again, Milo embraced him, but he sensed that something had changed within Bisco's body. The Iron Giant quickly retaliated. Milo handed his bow to Bisco, who swiftly shot an arrow at the Iron Man. The arrow pierced its body effortlessly. Pawoo and Grandpa Jabi were astonished by Bisco's newfound power, and Milo was just as shocked. The Iron Giant then fired its laser at Bisco, but once again, he was able to withstand the attack. With his arrows, Bisco rendered the Iron Giant powerless. Even Bisco himself was surprised by his strength, feeling a new energy flowing through him. Despite the powerful attack, the Iron Giant was still able to move. Determined to finish it off, Bisco prepared to strike again. Milo offered to help, and Grandpa Jabi handed Bisco his bow. Alongside Akutagawa, Bisco and Milo charged toward the Iron Giant. As they fought, Milo explained that Bisco was now a hybrid half-rust eater, half-human, which was why his strength had increased so dramatically. But Bisco didn't care about the reason behind his power, he only wanted to destroy the monster. Just as Bisco was about to shoot another arrow, Chiroru arrived and urgently warned them. She revealed that the Iron Man had become a bomb. If Bisco shot it, the explosion would be massive enough to obliterate the entire area. At that moment, the Iron Man began charging its destructive beam, but Bisco quickly created a barrier using mushrooms. Milo was amazed at Bisco's abilities, though Bisco himself still didn't fully understand them. Turning to Chiroru, he asked for a way to defeat the Iron Man. As she examined her notes on its body structure, she discovered its weakness. However, the armor protecting it made it nearly impossible to attack. Pawoo then stated that he had a technique that could destroy the armor. Grandpa Jabi objected, saying it was too risky, but Pawoo insisted there was no other way. Bisco promised that if she survived, he would give Pawoo a reward. Without warning, Pawoo kissed Bisco and told him he had to keep his promise. Everyone was stunned, and Milo jokingly said that Pawoo would make a great wife. Milo then thanked Chiroru for all her help, making her blush. She told them not to lose and quickly left to find safety. With Akutagawa and Grandpa Jabi's help, Pawoo was launched into the air to strike the Iron Giant head. She delivered a powerful finishing blow, but the Iron Giant managed to counter with a slap.
This is the moment!
Fortunately, Bisco saved Pawoo just in time with a well-aimed arrow. Thanks to Pawoo's attack, the armor protecting the Iron Giant head was finally destroyed. Inside the Iron Giant head, Kurakawa, who had been unconscious, suddenly awoke and fired a shot at them. One of the blasts was about to hit Pawoo, but Milo swiftly protected her. Impressed, Bisco praised Milo's growth. As they prepared for an aerial assault, Kurakawa managed to injure Bisco's eye, making it difficult for him to aim. Milo steadied Bisco's hands, helping him shoot with precision. The arrow hit Kurakawa, and immediately, rust-eater mushrooms sprouted and began consuming the Iron Man.
So believe in me, and draw the bowstring back with as much it'll hit. Dead on.
The rust covering the Iron Man started to vanish, and Kurakawa was engulfed by the spreading fungi, ultimately perishing. With the Iron Giant defeat, the rust on Pawoo's body also disappeared. As the battle ended, Bisco and Milo gazed at the evening sky, now free of rust storms. The people of Imihama resumed their daily lives, relieved. After a few days has passed, Pawoo, now the governor of Imihama, established an independent movement. At the city's border, guards were watching television when Bisco and Milo, now in disguise, prepared to cross. Just before passing through, Bisco still in disguise, handed over a vial of the valuable anti-rust cure, something incredibly rare and expensive, to the border guard. It was a gift, a token of gratitude for taking care of the mushrooms he had entrusted to him when they first met. Realizing who they were, the guard quickly ran after them. The story concluded with Bisco and Milo riding a Kurakawa, setting off in search of new adventures.
Sure you want to cure your new body?
Of course I am.
It really is such a waste. You're a super duper rust eater, man.
Of mushrooms growing all over you, we'll talk. It's disgusting.
Without you, it's some task. We've got a long road.
Everything will work itself out in the end, though. No way. We're invincible.